Choose Viatude fungicide and unleash best-in-class sclerotinia protection in canola and premium protection against white mold in soybeans. Viatude contains a powerful premix of Onmira Active and prothioconazole. This unique combo delivers high-performance disease control, crop safety, mix compatibility, resistance management, and advanced mobility for excellent coverage and superior plant protection. Choose Viatude fungicide for stronger, more vigorous crops.
It's time for RealAg Radio on Rural Radio Channel 147 on Sirius XM. RealAg Radio and RealAgriculture.com is your home for insight and analysis of the issues that are impacting your farm business. Let's get real and get connected with RealAg Radio. Welcome to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. Shaun Haney, your host here on this Thursday edition of the show. Hey, thanks so much, everybody, for making RealAg Radio and Rural Radio 147 a big part of your workday. Also, thanks for you, those of you listening on the RealAg Radio podcast. Really do appreciate that as well. It's the Farmer Rapid Fire today, brought to you by Viatude, the new fungicide for canola and soybeans. Get best-in-class protection from two of the strongest sclerotinia and white mold actives on the market. Now go to pioneer.com/Canada to find out more. It is great to have Corteva and Pioneer Seeds Canada aboard as the exclusive sponsor of the Farmer Rapid Fire here on the show. Okay, speaking of the Farmer Rapid Fire, we got a great lineup, a roster, so to speak, of farmers we're going to chat with today. We got Sandi Brock coming out of Staffa, Ontario. Chris Moore is in Kinburn, Ontario, very close to the nation's capital in Ottawa. We got Korey Peters out in Randolph, Manitoba. And we'll finish up with Rob Sommerville, who is in special areas of Alberta. So different challenges for all those people, probably different attitudes in terms of the heat and the moisture or lack thereof in a number of different cases, but we'll find out how they're making out. And today's Pioneer Seeds agronomist is going to be Jenna Gregoire. She is in Saskatchewan, and so we'll talk to her about what's going on in her territory as well. If you have any feedback on today's show, you can send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com, or, of course, find Real Agriculture across all the different social media platforms. You can also call the Real Ag feedback line, 855-776-6147. And we take the Farmer Rapid Fire into Staffa, Ontario. We're talking to Sandi Brock. Hey, Sandi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Shaun?
I'm doing pretty good. So what's happened on the farm this week?
Well, currently Mark is busy side dressing our corn. So that is what he is doing. And I've just been sort of doing some odds and sods in the sheep barn now that I'm not needed as much in the fields.
Has weather been cooperating for you?
So it depends. It depends if we're trying to be out on the land. Sometimes I feel like this spring's been a bit challenging. I find we get windows sort of being able to do stuff, but I just think the winter honestly wasn't. I can't believe I'm saying this on record, but I think the winter wasn't cold enough.
Whoa!
And I know. Our ground is just, it didn't work up real nice this spring, and we, like our best ground was our strip-tilled ground where we didn't really have to fuss with too much, and we did the strips in the fall. But yeah, and this is all totally coming out of Mark's mouth. I'm not the expert on the grain side. I just have to hear the complaints about how he's not happy with the ground conditions. But I think most people in our area have got most of the crops in. I think edible beans maybe are the only thing sort of the challenge to get in. And I think a few of us have even got a first cut of hay off. So we're not in terrible shape. We're taking very good advantage of the sunny days for sure.
Yeah. I like the fact that we're covering Mark's grievances with Mother Nature here. This is good.
This is what I do. I have a side gig as a therapist. So
well, we all need them.
I think so.
How are things going in the sheep operation?
The sheep is pretty good. I changed things up a little bit this year. I'm usually lambing hardcore right now, but I actually dropped one of my cycles out, so I'm only lambing 3 times a year now instead of 4, and it's been sort of nice because it's not been so stressful in terms of like feeling like I need to be helping Mark plus doing my own thing in the barn. So I'm really just doing some management jobs and making sure everything's sort of just alive and well and happy, and that's about it. So we're on cruise control in the barn right now.
Well, and you do such a great job, but basically people can watch all this happening because you have a great YouTube channel dedicated to that operation. If somebody's listening to this in Canada, the U.S., and you're in the sheep industry, there's a good chance you've watched Sandi's videos. But if people are outside of it, what's the name of the channel and how can people find it?
So my channel is just my name. It's Sandi Brock, but most people sort of like to call it Sheepishly Me. That's my little handle, I guess you will, just because it's sort of encompassing me as a person, as a sheep farmer, as a wife, as a mom, and the channel sort of hits all the things that I do, not just the farming side, but 99% of it's farming content.
Yeah, it's great. How long have you been doing that now?
7 years. I started in 2017. I started. So yeah, it's been a bit of a haul.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and I know you can attest to that.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. Do you enjoy it as much as you did at the beginning?
I enjoy. Yeah, like it sort of depends. Some are harder to edit, right? If it's been a challenging time. And then other times it's like sort of a creative release, and it's keeping my brain busy when, if you're dealing with stuff, it's a nice release. And so I do love it. I feel like I treat it more like a job now too, which sort of sometimes takes the fun out of a hobby, right? But
again, I identify.
Yeah, like when something contributes, then I take it very, very seriously. So I know some people sort of laugh and are like, "Oh, you're doing that little YouTube thing still?" And I'm like, that little YouTube thing is a significant contribution to the farm now, which I've never really felt like I've earned. Like I do with my back and my labor, but I've never felt like I've always sort of felt like I was the add-on on the farm. So it's been nice to have my own contribution, I guess, because I'm a proud person.
Yeah, well, you should be very proud of what you've done with it. I can identify it. Somebody last week, having run into just local around here, where I was at my son's baseball game, he's like, "Hey, so what are you doing? Are you still doing like that podcast thing?"
Oh my God!
Yep, still doing the podcast. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, it's
you don't know what to say, right? Like people are like, but I'm like, it's pretty much a full-time job besides the full-time job.
Yeah, that's the other one. Is that like a full-time job? Just doing like a podcast? Yeah, it's like
yeah. There's a few things to it. Yep.
Yeah. So, any big summer plans?
Big summer plans?
Yeah.
I feel like summer's really bad for us to make plans, just because with the add-on of the sheep comes hay and straw and all those nice things. So we're pretty much field committed for most of the summer months. But we did go to Scotland in March, and that was phenomenal. So
wicked.
I think our traveling plans from now on, unless we can sneak out for some weekends here and there, we're gonna try to do that, early spring, late winter dealio when there's a little more time on both sides. So
what took you to Scotland, and where'd you go?
So back to the YouTube, there's a YouTuber over there that's a sheep farmer, and we've become like close friends, just like online friends. And I really want to meet him and his wife and his kids. And so we went and spent some time with him, and he toured us around his local spots. And then I went and visited a girl, Northern England area, and I sort of met her on Instagram. So that was the first part of the trip. And then the second part, we just wanted to be annoying tourists in Edinburgh. So
Edinburgh's gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh my God. I want to go. I love Scotland. I want to go back. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, so what was your impression of sheep farming in Scotland, in England? How's it different? How's it the same? How's it different?
Oh, so the same as in we all have the same issues when it comes to lambing and all the things. Like those things don't change whether your sheep are inside or outside. And I think a lot of my viewership get caught up on the, like, why are yours inside? And in the UK, they're all outside. And I'm like, that's just, our weather is just so different. And they're just a little more, I mean, I guess their sheep might be hardier too, but they make use of what they have. And I really respect that. Whereas I think here in North America, we do capitalize a lot. Like, we do invest in buildings and infrastructure where over there, there's not as much. I would say in the areas that I saw, there wasn't as much arable farming. It was more like, pasture land and hills and ranges for their sheep. So the sheep are it's just a wise choice the way they do it. And it makes sense. So, and I was talking to them, they said the sheep industry over there was just booming. Like, the market price for sheep and lambs was insane when I was there. So hopefully that stays the same for them. But, so yeah, a lot of similarities really. And then, and then a few differences too. And I think it's based on probably climate, for the most part.
Yeah. Like there, it's raining every day.
Yeah. It was when they were lambing. I felt awful for them. It felt like it was just flooding. Yeah.
I was in Edinburgh one time, and the rain was going like straight sideways. It was sort of like when I was in Halifax last week. It really reminded me of that same thing.
Yep. There's a lot of similarities on the East Coast and that area for sure. Yeah.
So, okay, let's finish up with this. What's the one change on your farm you'd like to make? If you could say money was no object, or maybe it's an issue that you're thinking about. What's one change you'd like to make? And it's not fire your husband, Mark. You can't do that.
No way. I don't want to do his job.
Yeah.
That's when we know we'll never fire each other, because we know we don't want to do the other person's job.
Yeah, that's a good way to keep together. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If anything, I wish there was more time to just enjoy stuff. Like, I just wish everything wasn't so high pressure and high stake right now in our industry. I think that it feels like you can't take that afternoon off if this is ready to do, and it's that workaholic mentality, which I wish we could maybe change a little bit. Yeah. If I've learned anything over the last year and a half or so, it's like I wish we made more time for ourselves and just enjoying. It's where we live, and what we do is a beautiful thing. And I feel like we keep looking at it as work, and it's like there's a lot of beauty to it too. And I just don't think we take the time to see it for what it is sometimes.
Well put. Sandi, thanks a lot for joining us here today in the Farmer Rapid Fire.
You're welcome. Thanks, Shaun.
Hey, we'll be right back on the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
Want a product that will give you nitrogen all season long? Then you want to try Envita. Envita gets directly into the cells of the plants, and it's easy to apply, foliar or in furrow. Envita provides the flexibility you need for your farm practices. Whether you want to reduce your nitrogen and maintain yield, or maintain your nitrogen and increase yield, Envita fits your farm. Envita SC formulation is OMRI registered. To learn more about Envita, visit azotic.com. That's AZOTIC.com.
I get to spend every day talking to farmers in the ag industry through RealAgriculture.com and RealAg Radio. But nothing is more fun than speaking to an audience live and in person. If you're planning an ag event, book a Real Agriculture speaker to make it a successful and memorable experience. Email shaney@realagriculture.com and you can book myself or any other Real Ag personality to speak at your event. Bring your audience all the fun, insight, and energy of Real Agriculture.
Peter Johnson at WheatPete, RealAgriculture.com, and what an opportunity! Oh my gosh!
You think you can't grow better wheat? You are absolutely wrong. We're going to show you how to strive for those record wheat yields that they get in the UK and in New Zealand. You can grow 150 bushel wheat. I'll show you how.
Catch WheatPete's Word every Wednesday on RealAgriculture.com or download the podcast on iTunes or Spotify. Well, I don't know how this happened, but we have sheep farmers back to back on this show. And I think somewhere in the rules. We're not supposed to do that, but we'll do it anyway. We're continuing the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, and we're talking to Chris Moore, of course, of Kinburn, Ontario. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Doing good, Mr. Haney. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How are now? We just heard from Sandi Brock, and she's out there in Staffa. You're right close to Ottawa. How's the sheep business going for you right now?
That's a great question. It's going not bad. We're getting into the swing of, I guess, spring or summer here. We got pretty well all the sheep out to grass that we need to get out to grass. Working with some new people this year, getting solar sites grazed. We're in the middle of lambing our own sheep. And, I got some hay made. It's going good, I guess.
Good. How are the crops looking?
I just seen a cultivator go past, so there's still some unplanted acres, I guess. And there's some corn that looks like it's getting the nitrogen knifed in now, too.
Okay.
Or has been. Yeah. So it's pretty variable.
You've been getting lots of rain.
Yeah, for sure. We lost actually a kid here, 11-year-old in the village of Carp to a flooded river just recently.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's scary. Good. Well,
not like one of our kids, but a
no, I know.
in the neighborhood. Yeah. You would have got a memo about that, I guess.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think so. Now, it's been quite hot there, has it not been? The temperature's been turned up?
Yeah, it's been we've had some plus 31 and then followed up by just about down to freezing and rain the next day. So it's been pretty variable that way. Pretty well extreme on both ends for what you can expect this time of year.
Now, do you like the heat?
I used to, but now I'm getting old.
I find as I get older, I like the heat more.
It's muggy here, though.
Yeah, I know it's humid. Yeah, okay, but that can't be your pass for everything. It's heat. There is different kinds of heat. I hear you.
Yeah. So I used to like it a lot better. I used to be the guy in the mow against the tin and yelling at everyone to bring the bales faster. But now it's maybe we shut down around 2 for a bit.
Yeah. When it is that kind of hot and humid, do you try to start earlier in the day if you can?
Yeah, we are. We are starting a little earlier. It's a little bit challenging with these wet conditions because, you start early and your feet are wet real bad.
Yeah.
And that's not much fun either.
Okay.
But on average, you're kind of perfect. Like your top is sweating, but your feet are soaking wet. So.
Have you cut any hay yet?
We have our home farm off and wrapped. We still have a bunch more hay to get done, but definitely in between the weather events here right now. Well,
that's the challenge, right? With hay, you're getting frequent showers, then it becomes a real challenge to try to get that hay off in dry condition. That is stressful.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have more tools than we used to between hay preservatives and bigger equipment and all the different ways of storing feed. So I mean, it's a lot better than the old guys trying to bring it in with horses and loose hay and packing it in the mow.
You said you're lambing. What is the biggest challenge with lambing?
Oh, man.
Besides keeping them alive, because sheep are constantly looking for ways to die. But what's the biggest challenge?
I guess, lambing under the panels, making sure we're finding those vulnerable and compromised lambs in time that we can get them taken care of. The heat that we're dealing with is a real challenge, too.
That would be.
Because they dehydrate real quick and easy, and it's hard to get them, reinflated with fluids in a timely manner. It's almost easier to bring them back from the cold than it is from the heat. But
interesting.
I mean, we always got shade here, so it could be a lot worse. But
this is coming from a point of view of complete stupidity when it comes to sheep. But are sheep pretty self-sufficient when it comes to lambing, or is there a lot of assistance required?
I think it's like anything in farming, Shaun. You set them up for success, and it should be all right. Choosing the right type of genetics that, the females have big pelvises and want to look after their lamb. Rams that produce a lamb that's born easily on its own and vigorous at birth is just so important. And what we do. We see it in sheep farm. It's like it doesn't have to be the hard Olympics sometimes. It's okay that things go easy and your hands off. So, yeah, the majority of our work at lambing is walking those pens and looking for lambs that lost mom at the last move, or maybe the ewe has a bad udder because we didn't get them checked over good enough last fall. So making sure we find those vulnerable lambs. As far as pulling lambs, less than 1%.
You know, you just said something to me. You know, it doesn't have to be the hard Olympics, and I think sometimes in all facets of running a business, you gotta kind of remind yourself of that, and you kind of alluded to this. It does come down to preparation. Now, it doesn't mean it all goes right, but that preparation does lead to some better outcomes, or raises the probability of better outcomes.
Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance.
Yeah, should get that on a T-shirt.
Yeah, a friend of mine stole that. Jake Sloan, he shears for us. So if anybody's looking for a good shearer, Jake's great and has a lot of witty things.
Do you feel at time that you were constantly in the hard Olympics?
Yeah, for sure. Like when I started out sheep farming, it was like we had this old bank farm. We're going to put the sheep in there, lamb them as often as we can, and it was just like we were doing everything so hard, and then you get talking to some people that have survived the sheep business and are thriving in the sheep business, not just people that have had sheep for a long time, and you find out, oh, they can lamb on grass. They don't need lambing jugs. Production isn't necessarily, or performance isn't necessarily profit either.
Yeah.
If the market doesn't owe you a profit, so if you can keep your costs down, that's as good as getting the top price sometimes, or better. Yeah. Probably better.
Any big summer plans this year?
Probably get down and visit some friends. Maybe try and take in the Holstein Rodeo at Jay Lewis's place.
Oh,
that'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that's some pretty cool stuff, that guy.
I had a great time with Jay. What was it? It was 2 years ago at the National Farm Machinery Show. We had a really fun time.
Yeah.
Good guy.
No, he does some really cool stuff. Pretty humble guy, but really good guy.
Okay, final question. Okay. You got to use your imagination here. Maybe this is something you've been thinking about. What's the one change on your farm you'd like to make?
Be debt-free.
Nice. I feel like we're like the Dave Ramsey show. We should be ringing a big bell right now and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, it's, I think, 2 years ago, debt wasn't something to be scared of, but things have definitely, pendulum swinging stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So right now it's still manageable, but I don't know.
Yep. No, I think that's one that a lot of people would tend to agree with for sure. Hey, Chris, thanks so much for joining us here at the Farmer Rapid Fire. All the best to you.
All right. Thanks for doing this, Mr. Haney.
Great stuff. Love having Chris Moore on the show. Okay, when we come back, we've got more of the Farmer Rapid Fire brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
If you're involved in the agriculture industry, it's important to stay informed on all the latest issues affecting your business. At RealAgriculture.com, we offer fast, reliable news, information, and insights to help you keep on top of all of the latest in Canadian agriculture. Visit RealAgriculture.com and sign up for our free daily newsletter covering everything from news, agronomy, animal agriculture, and much more. Visit RealAgriculture.com/subscribe today. Canola is more than just a pretty face in the prairie landscape. It's a big business, both here and around the world, that requires you to be informed and up to date on everything it takes to grow a successful crop. The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com has an expert library of video resources covering markets, agronomy, and more to help you grow a healthy and profitable canola crop. Visit canolaschool.com today. Brought to you by BASF Canada and Invigor Hybrid Canola. It's summertime, and you've got a lot of important decisions to make when it comes to your corn crop. Let the Corn School on RealAgriculture.com help guide you through those big decisions with input from leading experts in the field. If it's spray timing, disease identification, or any other field issue, the Corn School's got you covered. The Corn School on RealAgriculture.com, brought to you by BASF and Pride Seeds.
We take the Farmer Rapid Fire, which is brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, to Randolph, Manitoba, and we're talking to Korey Peters. Korey, how are things looking out your window?
A little damp, but things are going good. Most people are wrapping up seeding or have finished in our area. So, after a few drier years, I think wet isn't the worst thing, but maybe if we stretched it out a little bit so we could at least finish.
Oh, it's like, only if it was a little drier around here. Have you already switched your tune that quickly?
Oh yeah. We switched that a few weeks ago already when we've kind of been stuck at about 75% done seeding for 2.5 weeks and we haven't moved. So it switched. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess where are we sitting here? Spraying now has become a bit of a tighter window. Is that what you're dealing with?
Yeah. It's lots of people were really moving last week, trying to move in between the winds. So usually in the morning or evening, we even did some night spraying, which is pretty rare for us, but trying to get all our wheat and canola acres covered as much as we can. So yeah, there's lots of people moving on that the last 2 weeks. And then anytime there's a window, we kind of get, a few days of no rain. And then also right at the end of those few days, everybody's seeding, trying to finish up before the next little drizzle seems to come.
Which crop do you think is looking the best right now?
Wheat. Wheat always looks good. It jumps out of the ground nice, and it's come out pretty good in our area. So I would say it's looking pretty good. And then there are some really nice, some of the early canola that people got in. While they were maybe smarter than us planting canola and we were still working on wheat, their early canola looks really good.
Think about spraying at night. Like planting and seeding at night, it doesn't there's a lot of tools to make that all happen well. I think of combining at night actually is one of my favorite things. Like I love that late, where you got a bit of a wind, it's early in the season, you're not dealing with a lot of dew, that late push on the combine into the darkness. That's one of my favorite things. Spraying at night.
I don't disagree.
Okay. Oh, you like that too. So, but spraying at night, we're driving, that to me just feels a lot more, chaotic's way too strong of a word, but not ideal.
Not ideal. And compared to some of our other equipment, our sprayer is a little bit older and it's not lit up as well as it should be. Let's just say that. So you're kind of trusting the monitor quite a bit that it is spraying like it's saying. So it's not always the most fun. So we need one of those fancy light bars like I see on all the young kids on TikTok. They light up their whole boom. So I'll get there.
Do you like TikTok?
I like scrolling. That's about it. Yeah.
Okay. Are you making TikTok videos yourself, or are you just a consumer?
A little bit. Not as much as some other platforms, but a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about from the marketing standpoint? That's a little bit of a different situation we've been dealing with the past number of years, I guess, put it that way. But definitely got to pay attention to it because it's kind of volatile.
It is, yeah. I think we had pre-sold some stuff already, when there was a little uptick. So we were pretty happy, I think, about the timing of some of our new crop sales. But, you never hit perfect. But there's still lots of movement. And it just seems, compared to the last few years, you're watching it more like a hawk because it seems so variable lately. So, but there's definitely movement. There's room. It's not the price of a few years ago that we all dream of and wish it would stay, but it's there.
What are some of the things that factor into the price that you look at? Do you just try to get the, following the market flow and highest price you can, or what, trying to manage the downside, or is it cost of production? Talk about what goes into the decision.
Totally. I kind of like all of the above would be the easy answer, but things that maybe you didn't say would be bin space for us, knowing cash flow a little bit. Also just this year, because of it's getting late, we're planting more of certain crops that we didn't expect to, which means we might have more bin space actually. So maybe we'll hang on to some stuff, because we're going to be floating on some canola now this week before it rains on the weekend, hopefully. So our canola acres will be up, corn acres are down, soybeans are down, just because insurance dates are passed. So we're trying to figure out bin space and then play with the price related to that.
Do you do most of the marketing on the farm, or is it a team approach?
Team approach, totally. Yeah. We kind of all have our roles, but when it comes to marketing, we all get the text daily from all the local elevators, and we can all have that access on our phone easily, and then we just talk about things. I'm
sure that would be some interesting conversations, because I'm sure you guys don't all agree all the time.
Definitely don't all agree all the time. Yeah. And I'm sorry to say, but we should probably start writing down whose idea it was to sell at certain times in the first place, because then we could go back and argue it.
Accountability.
Right,
I like it.
Who wanted to sell that wheat last year at 9 and then it went to 14 and whatever.
Yeah, I like that. Accountability. It's like, whose idea was this? I have no idea. I no clue.
It's easy to play innocent when you don't write it down. I know. That's my strategy so far.
That is funny. So you did mention, I think we have covered this before, but just quickly, you do have, there's a number of different people on the farm in the family, and you do divvy up what everybody kind of does. Does that work well?
Yeah, I think it does. It's not written in stone. We can kind of all run the drill or the planter or the sprayer, but some of us definitely don't run it nearly as often and aren't as comfortable. But yeah, I mean, having those roles, and even now working with, the fourth generation coming up and what their role wants to be or what they're comfortable with, it may not just be what their dad did, right? It's just because their dad does the books doesn't mean they have to do the books, or doesn't mean they're going to be good at it, right? So lots of those things are always transitioning now to the next generation and talking about it. But having some form of an assigned role, and then some things that we all partake in, for sure. I think that works well in our farm.
So what do you focus on?
I am the trucker, 100%. And then I do a lot of the yard maintenance. I decide on what crops kind of go in what bins, so then that entails of, as we talk as a group, of playing the market and how much bin space do we have and what we think the crop's going to actually yield this year, and trying to take that into account, right? So we all kind of report back and then try to work it from there as a group.
Do you use any of the technologies out there for bin monitoring and that kind of stuff? Do you have that on your farm?
Yeah, we do a little bit. Just for in the bin, we have just grain sensors, just for temp sensors. But for off the field, going to which bin, we have a Elmer's grain cart, and we run their system, their app, so we know exactly what's in what bin, off what field, harvested at what day, at what percent, at what moisture level and temperature and all those things. So we kind of know what's in every bin. Yeah.
Cool stuff. Any big summer plans?
Just hopefully getting to the lake a couple times with the family would be nice. Looking forward to that. Yeah, we usually have some friends that have a little cabin that we rent for a couple weekends or whatever, and we like to go to the yurt. We're not in a tent, but we go a happy medium of we rent a yurt with my kids love it. So.
Oh, very cool. Okay, question of the week. And this may be something you've been thinking about, or maybe you're going to need to spark your imagination here, but what's the one change on your farm you'd like to make?
Oh, that is a very open-ended question.
Very.
The one change on our farm I would like to make, well, since we talked about it, how about a sprayer that has much better lighting system, because it really would have come in handy this year. But more on a larger scale, yeah, that's a good question. The scale, big change I would like to make would be having. Well, honestly, we've talked a lot lately on our farm about data, and we use Field View, and you can't change or adapt things that you don't record. So I would just say finding more, not necessarily more apps, but using the apps we use more thoroughly and successfully so that we can actually analyze as more things on our farm. So that's kind of, I think, something we're talking about on our farm is just trying to take in as much information, but that actually is usable. So yeah, that would be a big thing. Just trying to analyze our data even more efficiently. Getting
more in depth with the tools you're already using. That's a good one. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Korey, all the best to you here as we try to get spraying done, and we'll check in with you a bit later on in the growing season, okay?
That sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome stuff. Okay, we'll be right back on RealAg Radio, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
If you only listen to RealAg Radio, you only get half the picture. For greater insight into the issues that affect farming, tune in to RealAgriculture.com. Crops, livestock, machinery, farm management, and the markets, even food and travel. Real Agriculture Online digs deeper into the topics that affect the way you work and live. So get connected today. Read, watch, and listen to the people who know at RealAgriculture.com.
Choose Viatude fungicide and unleash best-in-class sclerotinia protection in canola and premium protection against white mold in soybeans. Viatude contains a powerful premix of Onmira Active and prothioconazole. This unique combo delivers high-performance disease control, crop safety, mix compatibility, resistance management, and advanced mobility for excellent coverage and superior plant protection. Choose Viatude fungicide for stronger, more vigorous crops.
And we continue the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. We're going into special areas in Alberta, and we're talking to Rob Sommerville. Hey, Rob, how's it going?
Good.
Okay, now, you are in an area that is, drought is no stranger. How is it looking right now? Have you been able to get some of these showers that have come through?
Well, actually, the tap turned off here about third week of May. So prior to that, we were doing good, really good. But that moisture's, we've been stretching that one out, and it's we could use rain. Like for us, we could use rain. I know other people would be glad for sun, but the rain we had, we were in a deficit position, so 5 inches of rain, three of those inches went to the deficit and 2 went to the crop and green things up, but we need more.
Yeah, and that's the challenge, and there's not a real bunch of subsoil there to get us through. And probably for you, the fact it's been a little bit cooler, we haven't really necessarily turned the dial up on the temperature. It's probably been very helpful, I would assume.
Well, yes, I guess. If it had been hot, you get a lot of evaporation and you run out of whatever water you have. We could use our grass, our crops could use actually some heat.
Yeah.
They and they're variable. But we were just out checking crops this morning, and they need some heat. They need some rain. Keep that good start.
Yeah.
Going. Keep progressing.
Absolutely. What crop looks the best?
The neighbors.
Oh, okay. That's good.
The early seeded crops.
Yeah.
The early seeded crops are in a position to use the moisture the best. But there's a seeder going today. We're finishing up our grass seed is going to be finished today. So people are still seeding. But I think the early crops are looking good, and they'll need water too. They'll be coming up to a stage where they're going to need a drink, or there'll be a hit to their yield.
Yeah. What do you think of the cattle market?
Oh, what's wrong with higher prices, huh? Nothing wrong with higher prices.
No.
No, we did sell some culls a couple of weeks ago, a few cull bulls. and cows just clean. And I think that's the highest prices I've ever got. I don't recall getting that good of money ever before. So that does help. And who knows what calf prices will be this fall, but I think everybody is still optimistic. Fat prices are going up as far as I can tell. Maybe worries some places on the fat side, which we follow, was a strike in Ontario at a packing plant.
Yep.
And I think Cargill and Calgary was having a strike vote, and I don't know how that went.
Yeah, they haven't. That's the case plant. They have not. The Cargill case plant. They have not went on strike yet, but there is growing concern. There was a vote to pursue the strike, but they still are negotiating. I think there is negotiations scheduled for like the June 20th, 21st or something like that. We have a story up on RealAgriculture.com. So, but concern. That's concerning.
That's concerning. That there's what are the a cloud to every silver lining. But generally prices are still good. But we sure don't need something like a strike. Keep the ball rolling, keep the prices going as long as we can. Pay off some of the debt.
Yeah. Well, we did see the Bank of Canada, drop interest rates 25 basis points last week, but we could use more of that, especially for the amount of leverage that's out there.
Yeah, I think, no, actually the interest costs definitely have gone up.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we do fatten our calves, which means we retain ownership longer than the people that sell weaned, and so there's an interest rate hit there, and it's a bigger number than it used to be, but we're still we'd appreciate every break we can get. 0.25% here, 0.25% there, we'll take it.
Absolutely. Any big summer plans?
Oh, maybe we'll get to hay. I don't know that. No, we don't seem to have much for spare time. But generally, there will be hay crops this year, assuming it rains, and there is rain in the forecast. The potential is there for a normal year. So kind of looking forward to that. This normal is good compared to, say, last year, which was, more excitement than we really were looking forward to. But no, it'll be haying, getting ready to spray, just carrying on.
Yeah, it is. I was telling somebody earlier today that, I am glad. I'm not even growing crops, but I've talked about drought so much in the past 5 years that I can feel a bit of a relief from the fact that the audience isn't, it's much better than it was last year, the year before, even 60 days ago. But we still have some work to do, right? And that's the key. I realize that too. It is early.
Yeah, no, that's just part of life in this country. Drought is always around the corner, but the reality is some years it rains. And the potential is there. There's rain in the forecast. We're looking at that closely. It could be a great year.
Yeah.
And we're due. It's our turn.
We are due. I like that. Okay, Rob, this week's final question. You got to think about this one. What's the one change on your farm you'd like to make?
Oh, only one? Better equipment. Better equipment. We and that's going to be a hard change to make because it's not getting any cheaper. But we've been struggling along for years with making do, and that gets a little tired after a while. It'd be nice to have some. We hired the colony the colony came in and we hired them to seed for us, and they had this beautiful seeder. Yeah, it would be nice to have nice equipment like that. Life would be more fun.
Yeah. Well, Rob, really appreciate you joining us here today. I hope you do get some of those showers that you do need to make this that really good year that, like you said, you are due, and it is your time. So I hope it does happen. We'll talk to you a little bit later on in the growing season, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Hey, we'll be right back on RealAg Radio for the rest of the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, right after this quick break.
How's your seed quality? What should you treat with? What about herbicide carryover and environmental concerns? Spring is here, and you've got a lot of things to think about in regards to your pulse crop. The Pulse School on Real Agriculture has information and advice for all these questions and more to help you navigate this season. Brought to you by BASF. Pulse School episodes are available at pulseschool.com, realagriculture.com, or as a podcast on your favorite streaming service. Download the latest episode today.
I'm Lindsay Smith from RealAgriculture.com. Join me Monday nights for The Agronomist, a 1-hour live and interactive show broadcast across YouTube, Facebook, and X. Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, I host expert agronomists from all over the country to give you answers to some of the toughest agronomic questions. Join us live or catch the replay Tuesday morning. That's The Agronomist with me, Lindsay Smith, Monday nights live at 8 p.m. Eastern.
And we continue the Farmer Rapid Fire, and like we always do, we talk to a Pioneer area agronomist to wrap up the show. And this time we're going to stop in North Battleford, Saskatchewan, find out how crops are making out and some of the challenges in those parts, or some of the things that are going really well. We're talking to Jenna Gregoire, and like I said, based in North Battleford. Jenna, great to chat with you again.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on the show, Shaun.
Yeah. So, hey, how do crops look?
You know what? It's kind of a mixed bag. The cereals are coming along really good. They were seeded early and the wheat looks great. Canola's been a bit pokey. I mean, springtime was a little bit of a challenge. It seems like we got out there and then it rained. And then we got out there and then it rained. So, and it's been cold. Like yesterday was the first warm day that we've had and the crops just loved it. Everything jumped a leaf or two. And then today it's 13 degrees with a low of 6 again, you know? So it's just, everything's just a little slow this year compared to where we were last year. So it's coming. The crop stand is great. Everything emerged. We had moisture. But yeah, now we would really love it if we could just get some heat to really get everything moving. So
yeah, we were the same. So, you know, we've had one day this week where it was like gorgeous. Finally, summer is here. Yes. You know, and we haven't had a lot of it. You know, I was at a baseball game last Friday where we froze to death. People had two.
Oh, you're telling me going to my kids' baseball games? I think I wore a toque and long johns almost every day except for yesterday.
Yeah, I'm done with cold weather baseball. Yes,
I agree.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things I've been hearing a lot from the audience is some of the challenges with spraying, right? We bit of a more delayed seeding and planting season because of the rain. And hey, we'll take the rain. All
Absolutely.
Good.
Yep.
But it creates other challenges maybe we haven't been used to the past number of years. We got a really tight spray window here, or tighter than we've been used to. That and people saying, of course, like this is the time of the year, wind. That's an issue as well. So, what are some of the things you've been seeing?
Oh, you nailed it on the head. That hurricane force winds that we're having. I mean, I think it's supposed to be gusting up to 70 again today. So you know what? It's really hard for farmers. They're either waking up first thing in the morning, trying to get it on. And with these cold nights that we've had, I mean, that's not ideal either, right? You're wanting those ideal spray conditions and double digits and sunny and, you know, a perfect 23 degrees Celsius, but we have only had one day of that yesterday. So, you know, it makes it really difficult for guys to try and get those perfect days and to get as many acres sprayed as possible. So, you know, they kind of got to take what they can get and then harness their expectations based on how well that spray is going to work in some of these non-ideal spray situations, which is kind of really nice that we did launch Optimum Gly last year because, you know, that extends that spray window on your Optimum Gly canola all the way up to first flower. So if you need to, you know, you do have that extra window of application so you can get in there a little bit later to get that sprayed.
Yeah, and when we are using products in the field, make sure, even if we have it in our head, like do that double check of the label, make, what is the actual window, how many leaves, like just what stage can the crop be at, just so you don't make a unforced error, as they say in tennis.
Yes, exactly. I think I've had 3 calls this morning from guys saying, so what's the rain fast? When's the rain fast? And I said, well, what's it looking like out there? And they said, well, it's starting to rain on me. And I said, well, it's not there.
Too late.
Yeah, you've kind of missed the boat. But I said, you know what? You're spraying anyways. You got to do what you got to do. I understand that. But then just, harness your expectations a little bit. It's probably not going to be perfect out there.
Well, and it's the gray area, right? That, it's either it's when it's sunny, no clouds, or it's raining. It's an easy decision, but it's like that in and out, maybe going to get it. That's where it's hard. I had a neighbor the other day I saw it was like 70K winds and they were out spraying their weed in the driveway. I was like, I drift. I think it's a problem. I think we have a challenge here. Why did my tree die? I have no idea. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't you say that that's safe on everything? Yeah, no, not quite the situation. Yeah.
Totally. But so I'm not sure if I got it from you, but moisture conditions, like you said, the crop's off to a good start, sitting well for moisture in the Battlefords?
Moisture as well. I really put my neck on the line in the winter and I told guys it was going to be a wet year. And I think Mother Nature is really sticking that to me now because moisture conditions are no complaints there. It's rained almost every week, every second to third day. And, if we could just have some heat with it, that would be truly ideal conditions up here. But, nothing's ever perfect, right? We can't have just the perfect environment. Otherwise, that would be too easy and nobody would need a job, right? Everything would grow perfect.
Yeah. We don't, we have, it's funny. We're never without problems, right? No matter what the conditions are, we have some sort of a challenge. It's kind of the way that, farming goes. Any signs of flea beetle activity or grasshoppers where you are?
You know what? I do cover the far south. I shouldn't say far south, Kindersley area-ish is as far as I go. And there was a little bit of grasshoppers early on. But we've had a significant amount of rain even down there with these thunderstorms that have went through. So that's kind of stopped a bit. There has been pockets of flea beetles. But it's been more minimal than regular years too. So it's just kind of really in those pockets. And if we got some sunshine, I truly believe everything would grow through it. But because it has been so cold, everything's just kind of sitting a little bit stagnant. So I think guys that were hoping to hold off on needing to spray an insecticide now are kind of being pushed to spray one just to protect what they have. But yeah, if we just were to get some heat, I really think that everything would really grow through it with the moisture we have, and it would speed up real fast.
Yeah, it sounds like it is coming. For those of you that missed it yesterday, we talked to Matt Makins from Makins Weather. We talked about the full weather forecast for Canada and the U.S. So it does sound like heat is coming for sure the Western Canadian prairies. So
perfect. That's what I like to hear.
We'll follow that closely. Hey, quickly to wrap up, I asked all the farmers this question. I'll ask you as well. Any big summer plans?
Not really. Kids in sports. Husband still plays sports or think he's an athlete too. So you know what? We'll be at the baseball diamond for as much as we possibly can. And, hopefully there's some good lake days there too. So that's pretty much it for me. What about you, Shaun?
Yeah, it's a lot of this. I'm going to try to get to the lake for a week or so in early August before my kids will go back to university. So, yep. That's kind of similar stuff. A lot of time at a baseball field. I have a lot of that in my future.
There's worse places you could be, really.
That is, the best part is, as the kids get older, like, my kids are in college now. It's, they serve beer at the ballpark. So it's like, you don't even have to get in.
That's ideal. Yeah.
It is absolutely ideal.
Yeah.
Jenna, this has been fantastic. All the best to you. Good luck out there, walking all those fields and managing all those acres. And thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks, Shaun.
We'll remind everybody to check out Viatude, right? Go to pioneer.com/Canada to find out more, especially when we're dealing with white mold and scarlatina, which we're going to see, you think about some of this added moisture, that's going to be a factor indeed. Thanks everybody for getting real and getting connected with RealAg Radio, and we'll chat again tomorrow. Cheers, everybody.